Welcome back to my channel. This is One-on-One Trading Group. My name is Chris. This is the recap of the top 5 charts to swing trade from last week. Let's get into the charts. PPG, first one up. We had an inside candle on that Friday. It gapped up that Monday morning. Let's see, we had a entry price. I had an alert set at 164.59, and the candle opening range break, it popped right at open. It opened at 164.32, so right at the high of our confirmation, and then it popped to 166.77. So that was like a 2.25 point move. It would have been hard to get all of that move before it turned over, because then it kind of gave it all back. But if you sold at the first sign of weakness, it would have been a really good profit. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so the next one, let's see, we got a PZZA. That's Papa John's. What I liked about this chart was it had a panic that formed on the daily, and it was about ready to break out. They had earnings later in the week. It was that Thursday pre-market. As you can see, pre-market it popped. But I don't like to hold through earnings, because you never know what's going to happen. It could have great earnings and then it sells off. This one happened to have really good earnings, and it happened to pop, and then there was some continuation into Friday. But here, this is where you would have got a piece of the move prior to earnings with a I set the alert at 14.98, 114.98, and the let's see, we would have got the confirmation to enter on the 3rd, and we would have entered here for quick profits, exit there before the next sign of weakness, and that would have been like a 1.5 point move, and there was some decent profit. You could have played the reaction though, because I didn't get to play this, but yeah, I missed that. That's some good action. If it they had a earnings on pre-market, so could have played the reaction and got, this is probably one of the best stocks I picked last week. Happened to work out. On to the next one. All right, so this is the next stock. We got PGR, and I like this one because it had 3 inside candles, so this one was definitely ready to pop. We did not get confirmation on Monday, but it did come in on Tuesday, and this one, the ATR was not that great. So even though it looks like it popped, it really only popped for barely 54 cents. If you entered early, you would have definitely gotten, I set the alert at 96.25, but that was at the at the point of where it breaks. But if you got in early in anticipation of it breaking, that would have been risky, but you would have got more of the move. And that confirmation came here, but then it gave a little bit, some of it back, and then it popped again, and that's when you took the move. So this would have been, may have been considered a false breakout, but then it ended up giving it back to you. So you might have got stopped out here, but then re-entered. If you re-entered, you would have got back in, or if you'd have been patient. But this would have been a tough trade. I admit this would have been a tough trade, but it definitely did give some profits, uh, especially if he would have held um, and got alerted again 2 days later. It popped again on the 6th, and then that's when, because sometimes I don't turn the alerts off, and I did get alerted this again, but I did not take this trade. But a better move happened on this day. On to the next. We live and we learn. All right, so the next one is here. We got Twitter. TWTR ticker symbol. We got 2 inside candles on the daily. This is why I actually picked this one. I liked it. My bias was to the upside, but it gave confirmation, broke to the downside, and it was a small move. Danced around. Just started the day. I mean, you could have took the trade with the bias of being on the downside once it broke the 9 EMA. But if you wanted to wait for confirmation, it would have been an even smaller move because it danced along our confirmation line here. And then gave us an entry here. Showed weakness here, which would that would have been an 88-cent move. Hey, you got to be happy with the small wins too. Some profits is better than no profits. But you definitely would have gotten a lot more as soon as it broke the EMA, to 9 EMA, and to the downside. You would have gotten a good here, and then once you got confirmation, you would have got a little bit more. But it just depends on if you were watching. These are not set it and forget it plays. You have to monitor the trade. You have to take into account the market sentiment, because I believe this day everything was dropping. The market was dropping, and Twitter just kind of just went with the market. On to the next one. And last but not least is Plug. Again, I like this for the 2 inside candles. It started showing that it wanted to break to the downside. It broke to the downside. You could have took this trade here on the looks like the 3rd. Yeah, the 3rd. It broke, gave confirmation, broke down. Alert was on 26.56. And the entry candle was 26.82. And that was right about there. Got entry there, confirmation there. Rode it to the downside. As soon as we saw weakness, we sold it. We would have got a 68-cent move. And that's a wrap.